In the royal capital of Paluma, some demi-humans were working hard loading boxes into cargo. A man rushed them to hurry up. Banaza, a kind merchant, arrived and paid the demi-humans for their hard work, telling them to enjoy a meal at the hotel while waiting for more cargo. Other merchants thought Banaza was odd for treating demi-humans well, as they were usually looked down upon. Suddenly, Banaza felt a strange sensation and vanished in a burst of light, leaving his maid puzzled about where he went. He found himself in the magical kingdom of Clyrode, summoned by saints who thought he was a hero candidate meant to help fight a dark army invading their kingdom. Banaza told the saints he was just a merchant, not a hero. They didn't believe him and asked him to prove his magical powers by touching a magic crystal ball. The ball showed he had the lowest possible stats, confirming he was no hero. But then another hero gets summoned, and his stats are 999 points for each skill, making him unexpectedly powerful. The saints realized he was indeed a powerful hero and asked for his help. Banaza asked to return to his world, but they ignored him and left him alone in the castle. He met the king, whose retainer told him he couldn't go back because the gate was closed, and his world lacked the mana needed to open a new one. Banaza was offered a place to live in the Delaveza forest, under the condition that he keep the summoning mistake a secret. On his way to the forest, Banaza spoke with a demi-human transporting him and learned that, unlike his world, demi-humans and humans lived equally here. They gave him a bottomless bag filled with essentials like money and food. Arriving at the forest, the demi-human warned Banaza to leave soon for his safety but left before explaining further. Banaza checked his bag and took out a sword just in case. When he encountered some slimes, he used the sword to defend himself and unexpectedly leveled up from 1 to 2. Even though he was told the maximum level was 1, his stats updated to level infinite for all of his stats, but he doesn't know what the infinite symbols meant and ignore it. Then he acquires new magic spells, surprising him with the number he acquired from just a few slimes. Despite the confusion and dangers, Banaza decided to venture deeper into the forest, seeking a safe place, but was warned by the system about a dangerous substance called militium, which is harmful to humanoid races and produced by demons. Surprisingly, the system offers to clear the militium for him, using a third of his magic. The system performed a powerful spell that not only cleaned the forest, but unexpectedly boosted Banaza's levels significantly. Meanwhile, at the royal palace, the first princess was upset with the king for mistreating Banaza, the summoned hero candidate. She worried he might be killed by the Dark Army. The king dismissed Banaza as worthless, but a saint interrupted with news of a high-level purification spell recently used, which the king initially thought was cast by the blonde hero, but the saint explained it was cast near the Delaveza forest. Back in the forest, Banaza was stunned to see his stats had skyrocketed without him fighting any monsters. He suspected that using magic could increase his levels. When the system confirmed his magic was fully restored, it suggested he try shape-shifting magic. Curious, Banaza agreed and was transformed into a girl. However, he thinks is too sus for him, and he settled on a new male appearance that he thought would keep him unrecognized. Banaza then used teleportation magic to return to the kingdom, marveling at his abilities, but saddened by the realization that he couldn't return to his own world. Deciding to make the most of his situation, he went to the Adventure Guild to register as an adventurer under the name Fleo. There, he accepted a quest from a little girl needing an escort to the Delaveza forest, surprising other adventurers with his claim of teleportation abilities, which he thought was a beginner's spell. A royal knight named Bellarasa and her friends challenged Fleo to prove his magical skills, so he teleported the group to the forest, impressing them and gaining their apology for earlier doubts. However, the scene turned tense when the little girl notices the militium in the forest was gone, and the little girl transformed into her true demonic form, revealing herself as Fenris, a powerful demon. Fenris attacked with militium, weakening Bellarasa and her friends, but it had no effect on Fleo. He quickly teleported Bellarasa and her friends to safety, choosing to confront Fenris alone. Fleo prepared to use all his newfound magical powers to battle the demon. Fleo, not wanting to be killed by the demon Fenri, casts a whirlwind spell that traps Fenri in the air. But Fenri uses a short teleport spell to appear behind Fleo and attacks again. Quickly, Fleo casts a gravitational spell, making Fenri fall hard to the ground. Seeing a chance to win, Fleo thinks about what magic to use next. The helpful system suggests using a subjugation spell that would let him control Fenri's thoughts and actions. But Fleo, who knows the pain of being controlled from his past life, chooses not to use that spell. Meanwhile, Fenri tries to use her magic, but the system stops her spells. With no magic left, Fenry feels defeated and tells Fleo to end her life. But Fleo, who dislikes killing someone who surrendered, turns off the gravitational spell. Fenry is surprised by his kindness and decides to befriend him, even changing back to her human form. Seeing Fenry is naked, Fleo quickly covers her up and asks Fenry to promise not to fight anyone again. Before she can answer, she faints from using up all her magic energy. Fleo takes care of her until evening, during which he realizes how powerful he really is with all his overpowered spells. When Fenry wakes up, she finds her magic has restored, realizing Fleo must have used healing magic on her. She respects him more and agrees to stop attacking humans. She even calls Fleo her master, but Fleo tells her he doesn't want a master-slave relationship. However, Fenry insists, saying she'd rather end her life than not have him as her master. So, Fleo agrees to let her call him master. Fleo then reveals to Fenry that he is from another world and was summoned here as a failed hero. This secret makes Fenry respect him even more, and she promises to stay by his side forever. Meanwhile in the kingdom, the king calls the blonde hero to ask why the army he gave him was completely defeated by the Dark Army. Instead of owning up to his mistakes, the hero blames the king, saying he was given weak soldiers. But the king knows the hero used his knights as shields because he was too scared to fight. Meanwhile, Fleo and Fenry head back to the city to join the Adventurers Guild. They need money for food and a place to stay. As they walk through the local market, people start thinking they are a couple. To make things simple, Fleo says calling Fenry his wife might be a good idea to hide her demon identity, even though it's just pretend. But Fenry really takes it to heart and starts calling Fleo darling. At the guild, when they register, Fenry is about to say her demon's name, but Fleo quickly stops her. He tells the attendant to call her Riz instead. They then hear about a mission. There's a herd of psycho bears in the forest, and adventurers are needed to defeat them. The reward for each bear defeated is very high. Fleo is worried because he doesn't think he has enough experience to fight psycho bears. Fenry, on the other hand, is confident and convinces him they can do it, so they decide to take on the mission and teleport to the forest. They find a hut in the forest where they can stay during their mission. Fenry is excited to spend more time with Fleo and earn their reward together. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise from another part of the forest. It's Balirasa and her group, struggling to fight a group of psycho bears. Just as Blossom, a brave swordswoman in the group, is about to be attacked by the bear, Fleo quickly uses a lightning bolt spell to kill all the bears. The last bear tries to attack Belano, a mage in the group, but Fenry jumps in and defeats it. After defeating all the bears, Balirasa recognizes Fleo and is both shocked and grateful. She expressing regret about leaving him alone with the demon Fenry last time. Fleo feels it's the right moment to introduce Riz as his companion. Riz feels a bit sad because Fleo didn't introduce her as his wife. Suddenly, another psycho bear tries to attack Riz from behind. The bear sees the red light in her eyes. It gets so scared that it collapses in fear. Riz is surprised by her own effect on the bear and finds it cute. She wonders if they could keep the bear as a pet. Agreeing with her, Fleo uses his magic to keep the bear from going rogue and even changes its shape to make it smaller and names it Saibi. Impressed by their power, Balirasa asks Fleo if he can train her and her group. She explains that they are new knights and, after an incident with the blonde hero, refusing to fight the Dark Lord, they need to become strong enough. Fleo hesitates, unsure about training them since he's still exploring his own magical abilities. Before Fleo can respond, Riz, feeling a bit jealous of Balirasa's request, is glowing with rage. So Fleo introduces Riz as his wife, which makes the group back off, not wanting to impose on a married man. However, hearing Fleo call her his wife makes Riz change her mind completely. In her happy state, she encourages Fleo to train them. The group then mentions they have nowhere to sleep and it's too dangerous in the forest. They ask if they can stay at Fleo's house. Riz quickly agrees, saying there are several rooms, and she will sleep in the same room with Fleo, insisting that's what married couples do. Elsewhere, one of the Dark One's servants, Uliminus, reports to her master. She tells the Dark One that the powerful purification spell cast in the Clyrode Kingdom was done by one individual, not a group of mages as they thought. The Dark One orders her to find this person and bring them to him. Fleo wakes up to find Riz staring at him with a gaze full of love. She wishes her husband a very good morning, which startles Fleo. He thinks back to last night when Riz was eager to sleep with him, but Fleo wasn't ready to move that quickly. He had decided to sleep in the hallway, but Riz stopped him. She explained that if Balirasa and the group found out he was sleeping alone, they might suspect their relationship was fake. So, Fleo stayed and slept in the same room with Riz. Back to the present, Riz asks Fleo to get changed just as Balirasa enters their room. Balirasa quickly leaves, realizing she might be disturbing the newly married couple. Later, Balarasa and the group encounter a giant war boar. Balarasa runs for her life as soon as the boar charges. Blossom tries to assist but misses and ends up trapped. Reese instructs Balano to use defensive spells to help Blossom. Baileri follows up with her arrow, but shows herself to be just as weak as the others. Balano's magic drains completely after only 5 seconds, and her defensive spell disappears. This shows they all have a long way to go, and the training session ends with a defeat. Fleo brings everyone back home and gives them a room for free, as they need a place to stay. He got this house for defeating the Psycho Bears, so sharing it with his friends doesn't bother him much. The adventurers thank Fleo for his generosity, especially since he's training them for free. Reese then announces that lunch is ready, but it's just some raw meat that she prepared by cutting the mountain boar they hunted earlier. Fleo is not a fan of raw steak, so he suggests Reese should cook the meat first before serving it. Clearly, Reese has no experience cooking, as she is used to eating everything raw. So Balirasa and Fleo decide to cook a grand meal for everyone, which makes Riz jealous of Balirasa. Riz is initially skeptical that cooked food will taste good, but she is blown away as soon as she tries it. After the meals, Fleo brings all the war boars he hunted back to the Adventurers Guild to exchange them for money. However, he went a little overboard and makes him the center of attention at the guild. Riz decides to go around the town, claiming she has some personal business to deal with. A beast man named Leolith approaches Fleo, informing him that because of his outstanding abilities, he has been invited by the king to work with the hero. Leolith adds that if Fleo accepts, there is a chance the king will make him a knight. However, Fleo refuses because he doesn't want to take part in subjugating the demons, just like Riz. Fleo steps out of the guild and finds Reese, who looks completely worn out. He assumes that she was attacked by magical beasts or something. However, Reese hides the fact that she went to learn how to cook from a chef, which ended up becoming the hardest thing she has ever done. Wanting to gain her husband's love, she gave it her all. On the other hand, the hero, who has taken an interest in Fleo, realizes that if he can make Fleo join his team, he will be able to defeat the Dark One and regain the king's favor. So he continues to send repeated invitations to Fleo, but Fleo's answer remains the same as ever. Meanwhile, Blossom and Saibi did an amazing job growing the cabbage farm. Fleo gives a magic ring to Belano to increase her magic capacity. As she is about to put the ring on her marriage finger, Riz immediately warns her not to wear it on that finger. Also, Balarasa gets attacked by a sea-level beast. Although she knows she can defeat it, she intentionally starts calling Fleo for help. Reese realizes her pretense and slays the beast, calling out Balarasa. They return to the house and are welcomed home by a dinner specially made for them by Riz. Everyone is amazed at how awesome it tastes, shocked that Reese can cook. She admits that she decided to take a class so she could provide for her husband's needs. She has another meal that she prepared specially for Fleo, curry stew rice. She is elated when Fleo likes it very much. Unbeknownst to them, Uluminus is watching them. She is shocked to see Riz, one of the greatest demons, eating and dining with humans. Riz appears behind her, asking what she is doing in her territory, and invites her into the house. Uluminus asks Riz what she is doing here, and Riz says she is here because of her husband. Uluminus eventually narrates that she is here to find the person who killed all the magic beasts in the Delaveza forest. Fleo admits to Uluminus that he used his purification power to destroy the demons in the Delaveza forest. Uluminus is shocked to hear this, especially because Riz is still with Fleo even though her elder brother and his entire crew were killed because of the purification. Fleo is surprised and turns to Riz, asking her if she knew about this. Riz admits that she did know, but explains that it doesn't affect her love for Fleo. She believes her brother is the type of person who would hate to be pitied in death. Uluminus secretly tries to use her ability assessment magic to confirm Fleo's skills, but his skills are hidden. As a result, she challenges Fleo to a duel, planning to use this opportunity to kill both Fleo and Riz. However, Riz refuses because she thinks Uluminus wants her man. At that moment, Balarasa and the other adventurers reveal that they had been eavesdropping and are shocked to learn that Riz is the demon Fenris. Fleo eventually agrees to the duel. Uluminus gives him the rules, stating that the first to surrender loses. She jumps up and uses her cat venom claws to attack, launching another spell underneath him simultaneously. However, Fleo disperses all her attacks with one spell and uses the crucifixion spell to hold her captive. Surprised and embarrassed by her quick defeat, Uluminus surrenders and leaves. The following day, the group have an intimate conversation with Fleo and Riz. Fleo apologizes for deceiving them about Rez's identity. However, they inform him that they can't turn their backs on someone who has been helping them, and they don't see her as a threat. Before they could finish the conversation, Uluminus returns to attack them with a group of dragons. While Uluminus brags about the strength of the dragons, Fleo is more excited to see a dragon for the first time. He uses a spell called Divine Hammer and kills most of the dragons instantly. As the remaining dragons flee, Blossom complains that she wishes to kill one of the dragons to earn the rank of a dragon slayer. Fleo tells her to throw her weapon, and he accelerates it with his magic, killing a dragon for her, so she can earn the title. The others beg for the same opportunity, but the dragon has already left. The Dark Lord watches the entire scene, intrigued and concerned by Fleo's power. He plans to attack Fleo next. Fleo sets up a special barrier around their house so they can know when demons are getting close. Nearby, Blossom still can't believe she got the title of Dragon Slayer. She admires the tool that helped her defeat the dragon. Balarasa decides it's time to go hunt. Everyone praises Balarasa for training so hard every day, but while they're all admiring her, Balarasa is secretly sad because she didn't get the Dragon Slayer title she wanted so badly. She thinks if she had gotten it, her family might have been able to return to their noble status and live in the capital again. Suddenly, a guy shows up looking for a friend. Balarasa is wary of him because he seems sussy. He says he's looking for Reese, which makes Balarasa think he must be from the Dark Army. The guy admits he's from the Dark Army, but says he just came to see how Reese is doing. Before he goes, he tells Balarasa his name is Gol. When Fleo and Reese show up, Balarasa tells them everything. Fleo says they came out because his barrier told them a demon was close by. Balarasa is shocked to find out that Gol is actually the Dark Lord, whose real name is Gozal. Now she's really scared, because she thinks Gozal will come after her since she disrespected him. The next day, Gozal comes over, and Balarasa can't believe it. Gozal explains he's there because he wants Fleo to join the Dark Army. Fleo says no calmly, and explains that even though he lives in the forest, he doesn't want to fight against humans just because he's one of them. He also tells Gozal that he's not even from this world, and doesn't get why humans and demons are fighting. Gozal shares that the war they're fighting has been going on for 500 years. It started when the first Dark One, a lord from another world, arrived and was accepted by the demons who were being treated badly by humans back then. Gozal explains that even though the reasons for the war have been passed down through 12 generations of Dark Ones, the ideas have changed over time. Now, Gozal himself doesn't want to rule the world. Suddenly, Gozal shows off his massive power and states that he still needs to be the king of the demons because he can't let anyone who might threaten the demons go to the humans, but Fleo says that Gozal is overestimating him. Fleo doesn't want to pick any side in the war. Meanwhile, Balarasa is questioning why she is sitting next to the Dark Lord. Gozal stops using his power and laughs, impressed by how strong and determined Fleo is. He's also impressed by Balarasa not showing any fear too. However, he doesn't know that Balarasa is actually frozen from fear. The next day, Balarasa is shocked to see Gozal at their house again. He's eating breakfast Reese made, and Reese tells him to leave when he's done. Gozal wants Balarasa to join him, but she decides to get dressed instead. Later, Balarasa tries to sneak out, but Gozal stops her wanting to talk. Balarasa escapes to her training instead. Even though Balarasa keeps trying to avoid him, Gozal keeps coming back, thinking she must be a hard worker. Meanwhile, at the castle, the king is angry because he heard a demon has been visiting Fleo a lot. He thinks Fleo is now working with the Dark Army. The king wants to capture Fleo, but the princess suggests they should listen to Fleo first and try to understand his reasons. The king ignores her and plans to send soldiers after Fleo. And the hero even come out from his hiding and agrees to capture Fleo too. At the demon's castle, Uluminous worries about Gozal visiting Fleo too often by himself, which could be dangerous. Gozal trusts Fleo more than he trusts the human king. He hopes to convince Fleo to join his side because of Fleo's power. Uluminous is concerned because some demons are starting to speak badly about Gozal for visiting Fleo so much. Back at home, Fleo talks about his new idea to make and sell gear from dragon scales. He believes this will help them support themselves. Riz, however, worries about Fleo's decision to not work for the king because he could earn more money and use his abilities fully. She wonders if Fleo's refusal to fight the demons is because of her, but Fleo explains he's not as kind as she thinks. He says that discovering his own incredible power has made him prefer to avoid fighting altogether, which Riz sees as a sign of kindness. Suddenly, they are interrupted by the arrival of the hero, who gives Fleo an ultimatum: become his subordinate or be treated as an informant for the Dark Army and face death. The hero is very proud of his dramatic declaration, thinking Fleo is too stunned to respond, already imagining himself as a legendary hero. Fleo, however, apologizes for the inconvenience caused by the hero bringing so many people to his house, and firmly states he won't choose a side in the war. The hero then labels him a traitor, and when the girls protest this unfair treatment, the hero threatens them too, demanding their help to convince Fleo. Faced with no other choice, and wanting to avoid a fight at his home, Fleo decides they need to leave. The hero then boasts that there's no way they can escape the soldiers surrounding them. Fleo shocks everyone by using a teleportation spell that moves not only them, but also his house and fields. They all vanish, leaving the hero and his troops astonished at the scale of Fleo's power. Meanwhile, Gozal, who has been visiting Fleo, sees everything has disappeared. Furious and blaming the humans, he decides it's time to teach them a lesson, and orders his demon forces to attack the kingdom of Clyrode. Ulaminus, anticipating this, commands the demons to mobilize. The hero, seeing the darkness approach, flee like the coward he is. Fleo and the group reappear near a town west of the royal capital, far from the reach of both the hero and the Dark Lord. They are relieved, especially Balirasa, who is worried about the Dark Lord's interest in her. Fleo apologizes to Riz for the trouble, but she's just happy to be with him. To celebrate their new beginning, Riz decides to cook a big feast, and everyone rushes inside to enjoy their new home.